one Saturday, I was sitting around having a cocktail, and I thought, why am I using other people's groups to try and get business when I could create my own? How can I create a Facebook group that's going to be like a little trap out there that's going to, every once in a while, have somebody fall into it who wants to buy a house in my area?
Welcome to The Growth Mindset, the podcast for ambitious real estate and mortgage professionals. Hosted by Adam Crosley and Riddle, this show dives into entrepreneurial strategies, sales techniques, and mindset hacks designed to fuel your career growth. Get ready to learn from top producers, gain actionable insights, and start your journey towards success. Here's your hosts, Adam and Rick.
All right, thank you, Eric, for that pumped up intro. He is awesome. Every time I hear our music and our intro, and it gets me all jazzed up. So
it absolutely does. Thank you so much, Eric.
Yes, welcome to the next episode of the Growth Mindset podcast. I'm really excited to introduce. We have a special guest today. Adam and I both met Tom through the Freedom Club. He actually has a flag on his the Freedom Club in the background. But we met him separately, actually, at multiple different events, and we've become good friends. And so, welcome to our podcast from Fairhope, Alabama. So, Tom, welcome.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
So, Tom, before we really dig into some of the things you're doing, which I think you're doing amazing things and really unique things in this industry, which is really kind of, the growth mindset is just sharing cool ideas of how to grow. Tell us a little about Fairhope, Alabama.
Fairhope's a great little town. It's on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay. It's about 15 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. I guess maybe the Gulf of America now, depending on what you think of that.
Google Maps does say Gulf of America.
Yeah. Some of them did change it. So the beaches are great. It's kind of a great little vacation and retirement town with a lot of local artists, a lot of local authors. Really, really vibrant, active scene here. So
it's like an artistic, like when you said author, like is it kind of like an artsy type of area?
Very much so. As a matter of fact, next week is our arts and crafts show, which is enormous. It shuts down the city for 3 days, and it's really quite an event. And the guy who wrote Forrest Gump wrote it here as well.
No way.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. And I can't remember his name right now, but lot of good authors and a lot of good artists, and it's really kind of a cool little town.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Now, and it's interesting thing about Tom, while his Southern accent is not coming all the way through, he is actually not from Fairhope, Alabama. He's originally from Connecticut. So how did you go from the Connecticut to Alabama?
So I was actually born and raised in Massachusetts, and then after college moved to Connecticut for 17 years with my wife. And then I had a job opportunity down here in Fairhope, and that kind of evaporated at the start of COVID. But we loved it so much here, we decided to stay. So that's when I became a mortgage lender. And rather than go out and work for somebody else, I said, I want to build something that I can be my own boss and start my own branch and really grow. And we've loved it ever since. It's been great.
That's awesome. What did you do before?
So I was a chemist and I was in new product development. And then I started being a product manager. So basically shepherding products from innovation stage into production. So for a long time, I worked for Prestone, the antifreeze company. Okay. And then I came down here and was doing starters and alternators. So always in the automotive field.
Wow. A chemist. You might be the smartest person that we've ever had on our podcast.
Exactly. I feel a little stupider right now, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Dude, I liked chemistry, but they made you try to memorize the periodic chart, which now they don't do anymore. I got stuck after helium, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a good start. Yeah. You know the first one. First two.
Hydrogen and helium. And then after that, I don't remember. So before we really begin, as you know, we started actually last week a new segment called Quote of the Week. It is mirrored off of my cross promotion of my new book called Use the Ladder, which is basically a collection of quotes that I've come along the way and that have helped me in sales. And you can find that book on usetheladderbook.com. If you're interested. But we like to, I'm a student of success. There's actually a Facebook page. I want to hear other people's quotes and what it means to them. So I asked Tom to come up with, what quote works for him. And he sent me a quote that says, "The ability to concentrate single-mindedly on your most important task, to do it well and finish it completely, is the key to great success." So is that your own quote, or is that a quote you got from somewhere?
So it's stolen from a few different places.
Okay.
One of which was, I think the very first Mortgage Marketing Animals event I ever went to had the first part of that. And I've kind of added on to it over the years. And I keep it printed up over my desk here. So I would say it's 80% attributed to Carl White and maybe 20% to myself. It really helps me concentrate on finishing my most important tasks. It makes a big difference when you think about, so for example, when we're calling realtors and following up and getting meetings and not falling apart when it comes to the follow-up after the meeting, right? Because that's where I used to lose people. Or really anything. Think about your book, for example. If you got 2/3 of the way through your book and then didn't get it to publication, man, that's just a wasted. How long did it take you to write that? 6 months, a year?
Yeah.
And it would have been all wasted work. But finishing it to completion, doing it well, and it really helps embody that 80-20 rule too, kind of in my head, right? You're doing the most important task, the thing that makes the biggest impact to your business. You're finishing that and doing it right. All the other things, man, if they don't get done, they don't get done. But do the most important one first.
Yeah, I mean that basically is the growth mindset, right? We talk about. I think I've talked about a good plan executed is better than a great. Good plan executed is better than a great plan never executed, right? And I think Carl actually he did a sales meeting for us one time. He talked about completing the bridge, right? There's this pot of gold, and you build this bridge all the way to the other side, and then you don't finish it, and you started. Oh, there's more gold over here, so let me start
The
this
next shiny
bridge.
object, yeah.
Yeah, so I love it, right? That's a key component to the growth mindset, right? Is completing,
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably, Adam, you always say this business is boring, right? It's just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again,
Definitely not chemistry. I mean, it's, but it's, I say rocket science typically, right? But it just seemed inappropriate. But yeah, I mean, it's just discipline. It's discipline on doing the simple, small tasks repetitively and just showing up like the force of erosion, day after day after day after day. And I think that's how you build relationships, and that's how you generate a lot of clients, and that's how you parlay into a bigger and bigger business.
Yep.
None of us would be married, or soon to be married, if we never called after the first date.
Exactly.
That's true.
The money is made in the follow-up.
We could sit here and just have analogies all day long.
I love it.
But I great quote. Thank you so much, Tom.
Awesome.
I appreciate that, and I'm going to have that added to our Facebook page, and I'll give you credit, or you can put it on there yourself if you like it. Use the Ladder Book Facebook page. So, getting kind of into it. So, Tom, you have a great story that I would. I hope you don't mind sharing to all your listeners a little secret. You've really built business through Facebook, and done a lot of kind of cool things. I'd love to hear a little bit about, what you do. I think our listeners be interested. It actually doesn't sound complicated at all. It's just executing on it, but I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, it's not complicated and it's not expensive. So I tried the Facebook marketing where you pay for boosting posts, and it generates a lot of activity, but it's a lot of nonsense. So instead, I focused on Facebook groups, and I've found that Most of them, not all of them, most of them allow advertising on Monday. So you can post an ad for your business on Mondays. And I've found that if I make a post on Monday and I share it to a lot of these groups, and for me, I live in Fairhope, so I'm a member of groups that are called things like What's Happening in Fairhope, and then What's Happening in, and then the surrounding towns. Some places are going to call them What's Going On in, What's Up in. Every town has their own version of this. And then there are broader groups, so things like What's Happening in Baldwin County, What's Happening on the Eastern Shore. There are all sorts of local groups that you can be a part of that are going to allow advertising on Mondays. If I post in all those groups on Monday, instead of getting 100 eyeballs on a post, I might get 8, 9, 10,000 eyeballs on a post. It's a huge difference in viewership. I did that for a long time, and then one Saturday, I was sitting around having a cocktail, and I thought, why am I using other people's groups to try and get business when I could create my own? How can I create a Facebook group that's going to be like a little trap out there that's going to, every once in a while, have somebody fall into it who wants to buy a house in my area?
Yeah.
So sitting right there, I started thinking about it and created immediately a group called Moving to Fairhope, Alabama. There are a lot of people that move here to retire or move here for whatever reason to be close to the beach. And I started inviting all the local business owners into this group so that we could help answer questions for people that are thinking about moving to this area. So I'm talking about local restaurants, daycares, just any haircuts, anything that people would be asking about when they've just moved to a new location or when they're thinking about moving. And then we help answer questions that they have about the area. Now, here's the secret. I set it as a private group, so people have to answer 2 questions. The first is, are you thinking about moving to Fairhope? It's just a yes or no question. And are you willing to answer questions about the area? Now, the people who are moving here say yes, and then something like, I don't know much about it. Cool, no problem. And the people who are local say, yeah, I'm happy to answer questions about the area. And I just go in and I check who they are and what they do before I accept them. And when you know it, I'm the only mortgage lender in the group. Just by chance, I don't know. The other ones all seem to get denied. But when somebody is thinking of moving to Fairhope and they join this group, before I even accept them, I go on and make sure they're kind of a real person, right? They didn't start Facebook last week, so they're not going to spam us. And even before I hit accept, I friend request them, and then I send them an instant message saying, hey, I'm adding you to this group. Welcome to Fairhope. I'm here if you have absolutely any questions. I love the town. I moved here 8 years ago, and I think it's just a wonderful place, and I love helping people move here. By the way, I'm a local mortgage lender. When it's time for you to make the move, I'd love to help you. And then from that point on, I'm just kind of helpful about stuff and make sure that if they have any questions, I answer them. I post in that group, maybe not as much as I should, but let's say every couple of weeks I'm putting up a post because I don't want to bomb people with my stuff, but I do want them to be aware of what I do.
Yep.
And it's not like I'm closing 10 deals a month out of that group, but I get one every once in a while. And it takes very little effort and just a small amount of my time. Now I'm willing to share this with everybody because there are a whole lot of towns out there, and there's a whole lot of locations where people could be implementing just a simple little practice like this. And as long as you're not in Fairhope, I don't mind if you steal the idea.
You know, it's funny. I think about it, right? So I live in the greater Tampa area, and I'm in some Tampa Bay groups, right? Because I just moved here 2 years ago and tried to learn. But really, the secret is not moving to Tampa. It's moving to Apollo Beach or moving to Ruskin, right? All the little towns around, because that's where you can be hyper local, right? It's like, so it's a brilliant idea, by the way, and I think it's awesome. I think what we should do is we should you should keep that idea to your own and just have 4,000 moving to groups in across in every state you're licensed
And
in.
you could sell them to loan officers in the area.
Yeah, probably could. But
Because you're building a trap. I love how you said that. Like it's like you're building a trap, and it doesn't take much to just check the trap. I mean,
I just get a little notification, ping, somebody wants to join. I go in, I just check real quick who they are, and then send them a message. And it's just simple, cool, welcoming.
You could also just post in there, like, what a great way to promote your local businesses around you, right? So if you say, hey, went last Saturday night, had a great meal at, Fairhope Bar and Grill, shout out to, the owner or the manager of that place, they're going to be like, wow, Tom, you first of all, you patroned it, right? That's an easy post. Like, hey, had a great time here, and they're going to remember you, right? And you can cross share, and when they need a mortgage or they know somebody that needs a loan, they're going to be like, hey, that guy helped me promote my business, vice versa. So what an awesome idea.
Yeah, I should do that more often. That's good. I should, because we love going out to the local restaurants. There's a great food scene here, and we should share more of that for sure.
I think you could even leverage it kind of with that. You could even reach out to the business owners directly and try and like in real life, and not off Facebook, and try and get them to do more with that as well. I mean, it's another reason to pick up the phone. We're always looking for value adds, and you can say, hey, I've got this post, because you're coming across not as a gimme, you're coming across as, hey, let me help you grow your business.
Yeah, and to that point, there's somebody else here locally that does a great job with a separate group exactly like that. I think they call it South Alabama Foodies, and basically they partner with restaurants and they create posts about their food, and they keep it really upbeat and positive. And they'll even have to keep the group really active. This guy, and he's a realtor. He's been very smart about this. He keeps the group very active, and he'll put out a post that says, hey, we're going to have an NCAA style tournament about who's got the best burger. And so give me your list of who's got your favorite hamburger. And then he'll create a 64 team chart, and every day have a poll about whose burger is better, this restaurant or this restaurant. Winner goes on. And he'll keep the group very, very active. And as a prize, he'll actually have gone out to some of the restaurants and solicited some gift cards to do as a prize for the winner of the tournament, right? Whoever got the most right in the bracket. And he keeps it real active, real positive. A lot of activity. I think I shared it yesterday, and he's just shy of 30,000 members in that group. And
some of them might be buying or selling a home in the near future in South Alabama.
Yeah, he does pretty well. He gets a lot of leads out of that group.
Yeah. What a great,
that's fantastic marketing idea.
Yeah. I hear I'm moving to Plattsburgh coming soon, and there's going to be a new Facebook group. Moving to Plattsburgh.
Do you like the snow? Do you like the cold?
There are people that do.
There's people that are twisted like me. I get it.
I used to spend a lot of time snowshoeing and skiing up there, but not anymore. Now it's beach and boating for me.
There you go. That's awesome.
Adam's got a sweater on as well as a vest.
I went outside to let my dogs out this morning. It was 15 at my house, and the wind was whipping.
It's spring. You're springtime. Huh?
Exactly.
I feel like
it was 35 yesterday, so it's is what it is. But
15. I think the last time we had on our podcast, you were it was negative 15. So that's a huge swing.
Yeah.
So Tom, for people that want to get in touch with you, because I know obviously you're building a nice team in Fairhope, Alabama. How do they get in touch with you?
Sure. So the easiest way is going to be my cell phone, which is 251-391-5618, or they can go to my website, which is fairhope-mortgage.com.
Awesome. I think the world of you.
Right below here on the screen as well.
Yeah, it will be in our podcast. But Dude, I think that the world of you. I think that I've gotten to know you, I guess, over the past year and a half. I think you and I actually met at a cigar bar after one night at Freedom Club. But it has been awesome getting to know you and your journey, and it's amazing. You're a rock star in this industry, and thank you so much for joining us, and learning from you is awesome.
Thanks, Rick. Your friendship means a lot. I really appreciate everything you've done for me as well.
Yeah. Look, if next time I'm in Fairhope, Alabama, I'm looking you up.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I guess from here to there, here to New Orleans, right? It's literally halfway, probably, maybe a little less, a little more than halfway.
I'm only about 2.5 from New Orleans, so it's closer to
New Orleans
than halfway. But
we can get there pretty quick in a boat. Just cut across the Gulf, right?
I probably could. There probably is a way to get there for sure.
Straight line.
Straight line. Well, I'd probably run out of fuel in the middle of the Gulf of America, or the Gulf of Mexico. I wonder if Cito would pick me up in the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America when I run out of fuel. So
you're going to need more than
thank you so
5
much.
gallons.
It was great meeting you down in Clearwater a couple of weeks ago, and face to face. And Rick said a lot of great things about you, and I was able to meet you, and it was awesome. So
that was great. Yeah,
having lunch that day and whatnot. But anyway, man, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to come on our podcast today.
Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate it.
So I'm gonna, in a parting question, just because I've seen you on screen millions of times, almost every week, right? So obviously I know the Believe in the background is from Ted Lasso. Any story to that you have on there, is just believe in what you do?
Have you watched Ted Lasso?
Of course, yeah. Great show.
Okay. Great show. Now, I will admit part of the reason that those two things are hung up is because I was getting a terrible echo in here and I just needed stuff on the wall. But I also wanted to choose things that reminded me to be and act how I want to be and act. And Ted Lasso is extraordinarily upbeat as a coach throughout that entire process. And something that I really want to try to mimic more in my personal life, right? To just be true to who I am, be honest in everything I do, and just have an overall upbeat personality. And when things are going a little sideways on a loan, it's nice to have that right there to say, hey, I can be positive and nice to all the people involved, right? Ted would have never yelled at an underwriter or a processor or an assistant. And I try to mimic that in my personal life. There are days I don't, but I do my best.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that. That's pretty cool. It's funny. I think that I have a vision board of people that fictional and real people that have come across my life, characters and things. And I think that's an awesome, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode of the Growth Mindset Podcast. I'm Rick Riddle.
Adam Crosley.
And this week's guest, Tom Kalagher. So thank you guys so much for listening. And we're going to have Eric say all the legal stuff behind the scenes and make sure that we can stay in business and we don't get sued by anybody. So Eric, take it away.
You've been listening to The Growth Mindset, hosted by Adam Crosley and Rick Riddle. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your colleagues. Stay tuned for more actionable insights to fuel your career success. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily reflect the official policies, positions, or opinions of Absolute Home Mortgage Corporation or Crown Home Mortgage. The content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice or an official endorsement by either organization.